And it looks like we are live on YouTube. All right. Welcome everyone to another rip-roaring edition of the OpenJS Cross-Project Council meeting. Today is August the 25th, and we are having a party together because there's lots to celebrate. We start with announcements. Does anyone have any announcements?
Actually, I do. This is a fun flip around. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to welcome Martin and Darcy as regular members. I merged their PRs before the meeting, and yay!
Yay! Welcome.
Yeah,
Welcome.
I'm not sure if either of them are on, but still, I wanted to say something.
I see Martin is on.
Martin
Great.
is on, but I think he's a victim of the Zoom problem that we have.
Oh, I see.
No, she's a
Welcome,
fabulous.
welcome. Oh, all right. That's exciting.
Also have an announcement. As some of you are aware, I am resigning as a voting member of the CPC for personal reasons. And there is nobody is objecting in the TSC that Mary.
What if they did though? What if they did?
It's too late, man. We already called we have already called all the possible deadlines, so it's not super official yet. But I would say that I will open up the PR to switch Mary with myself, which should be on the call. So congratulations, Mary.
Great. Congratulations, Mary.
Welcome, Mary, to the party. And Mary and Joe have been doing some awesome stuff on the survey, which I think is, have we wrapped the survey, or is the survey
We
still
have.
up? Okay.
No, the survey is wrapped. I think we got just about 2,500, maybe 24 or something. And Mary tweeted out the raw results, but I think that Rachel is going to work with some folks on the foundation side to, glean any insights from them and put it into a nice little format so that the data is easy to kind of digest. And then we can promote the results even more, and of course, push that back up to TSC, to Node TSC.
Woot woot.
Yeah.
All right. So other kind of things to share today, we also have our standards working group meeting at 2 p.m. Eastern. So that's just another hour or so after this meeting concludes. I think we have office hours this week as well, Joe. Is that right?
Yeah,
I canceled it. I have too much going on this week.
Crazy busy week. And I think that's it for foundation meetings this week.
Yeah, I guess we have another big announcement, but we'll wait until the agenda item. Is that Divya? Are you talking, bud?
Oh, my bad. My bad. I was typing something and was clicky. Sorry.
No worries.
I like the idea of burying that until the end. Like I like
Okay.
like oh, and by the way, just kidding. No, go right ahead.
No, please, you.
No, you.
Okay, I'll announce that Michael Dawson was selected as the community director for the CPC from the recent election. Yay, Michael.
Yay, thanks.
Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, thanks. I look forward to working with the group here and all the projects and the board going forward.
And I just want to say thanks so much to Dylan and James and Sarah and Toby and also Michael too for running. That was a really tight election. It was fun to see so many awesome people participate. So thank you.
Yeah, so many awesome people. It's really great.
All right. I think that's quite a few announcements. I think we can probably dip into our regular agenda now.
Yep, just a reminder though for folks, drop your name into the notes.
All right. Joe, do you want to drive up until the point that maybe your internet cuts out and you can't anymore?
Either way, if you want to drive, that's fine. I'd be happy about that.
Okay. So we'll start with issue 617, which is also my area code, which is the Fastify charter review. This is has been open for 14 days, so that's hit the kind of length requirement there. There have been a handful of suggestions and comments, but lots of +1s and looks goods to me's. Anything else we need to say or do to address this?
Has the FTM mention been dropped from section 2 yet?
We are, I think so, yes. Let me check, but I think I've landed that. Just a second. Yeah, it should have been landed yesterday or this morning. Just let me check.
When I checked yesterday, it hadn't been yet, but I think that's the
Yeah,
last thing that of anything I was asking for.
That was removed.
Great.
Yeah, that was removed.
Cool.
And
so we
good
look
to go, at least on my part.
And it looks like the issue 626, which is the PR to add them to the right section, has lots of +1s. So I guess it's just, yeah, if there's no more questions on the charter, it's probably good to go.
Yep, everything seems lined up.
Awesome. So I think then the action is we can remove the CPC agenda tag and close the issue. And then, as Michael pointed out, issue 626, which is the pull request that would add Fastify to the appropriate stage, is open. We're seeking everyone's +1s on that. That's sort of the last sort of symbolic thing that we need to do to move them off to graduate them and send them their diploma.
Yay!
Cap and gown.
So if I do those action items right now, I've already removed the label, I can close this issue and merge that pull request, then Fastify is graduated, right?
I think that's it.
Yay, another announcement in action.
And this truly is a party. It's a graduation party.
It is.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we've been working on a blog post about that as well. And so that should come out this week. And thanks very much to Matteo and Rachel and everyone who has helped bring this to close. Congratulations. All right. Moving on, I would have got you a cake,
Before
Matteo.
we do, I have a meta issue on what we are effectively doing with the graduation process at the moment, which is like modeling a pull review, except we're doing it via an issue and clumsily. It would be a lot easier to handle if the actual charters for projects, which we are saying are controlled by the CPC and need to have CPC approval for changes, would actually live in the CPC repo. Then we could have done all of this via pull request, and it would be far clearer for everyone what is the actual status of what the charter looks like, and we would have visibility if and when charters change.
I'm pretty against that. I think having that in the actual context of the repo is pretty important there. Largely because it actually helps give guidance to the project rather than saying, oh yeah, go to this repo in this org and have to like look at something about our project somewhere else that's not our project. It makes very little sense to me to have that outside. And I agree it's super clunky to do it in an issue. So maybe there's a different way we can do it, but I don't think we should be pulling that out of projects.
Yeah, I agree with Tierney, but I think we could be creative about how we do an approval through some sort of pull request, though, so that the approvals are clear as opposed to this issue process.
I mean, perhaps a simple implementation is literally linking to where it is and having those links in a document and then approving the link, which then links out to where it is. But
And can that even be the PR that moves them into the README? Also, you know, the link. Maybe there's a link in that. I don't know. Something simple, I think, would make sense.
May I request that we open an issue on this, on the mechanics of this specifically? You know, I think it's a fair point that it's clunky, but there are reasons why we did it the way we did, and I think that's worth talking about, but possibly not on this issue.
I second that.
I'm fine with that. Just one quick question for Tierney. Did you mean that the link to the remote repo would be a commit-specific link? Because if so, I'm entirely behind that.
I don't totally understand what you mean. I more meant like have a file that has links to the specific charters or whatever it is, governance files that then can be approved that are pointing to where it exists.
That, but to pointing to GitHub file that includes the commit ID of what we are considering to be the canonical charter. That would be wonderful.
I'm happy to do that. Let's move that to an issue.
Let's work on that. Yeah.
Thanks, y'all. All right. Issue number 616, nominations open, is not true anymore because nominations are closed and we have elected Michael. So we can close this issue and share the news with folks in a blog post on our OpenJSF blog. So, and I think overall the process was pretty smooth. The voter turnout was extremely high. So I don't think there's anything I would share from like a learnings perspective from running this election. So I think, you know, so far it seems to be going well.
2 questions on that. Are you going to actually share the actual results? And the second one, the end of the voting was not sufficiently specific. That should be in later times be a time in a given time zone. Because on a Friday kind of means all sorts of different things.
Any Friday, just any Friday.
The latest Friday.
Okay, fair point. It was something we discussed verbally, but probably needs to be more specific, as you said. Okay, fair enough. All right.
And the full results?
Share the full results. Should we just share those on the issue then, or is that?
I guess that's a good question on we should have in all these votes. Are the results, what do you mean by the full results? Is it like who voted how? Is it who got what number of votes?
I meant effectively what OpenVote has told, at least Jory, and I don't know who else was running it, but they can see, OpenVote does a pretty good set of results. There's just pure statistics and doesn't say who voted what, but it does say who got how many votes and how they ended up ranking.
Yeah, just to be super clear, the tool doesn't record or surface for me like who voted what way or anything like that. Just total number of voters and, you know, the different, since we use the single transferable vote method, how the each round goes to results. And so it does give you a report. We could share that report if that were, I mean, my one concern about that as a pattern is that it might be, there's, you know, discouraging of other people who might be interested in running. They may decide, like, maybe that, oh, I'm afraid that I won't get any votes, and then people will see that I didn't get any votes, so I don't want to, you know, so maybe we could share that on CPC private would perhaps be a better solution as opposed to public to the world. I don't know, just thinking.
Yeah, I have the same concern that we don't want to discourage people or like make people worry about voting because but
Should we move that to an issue and figure out? what the best process is?
Yeah, I think that would be good and documented so that we have it, we follow a consistently across the different votes that we do.
The last of Michael's position is effectively why I was asking. I don't really care which way we do, as long as we do it systematically.
Yeah.
Cool. Issue number 607 is next steps for the supporter program, which is, I'm not going to lie, my favorite issue right now.
Great.
Sarah, would you like to share?
Yeah. So I put in a pull request with some of the details from our last meeting. A lot got fleshed out in that meeting, which is exciting. Got some good feedback already about from Chris Borchers. Thank you. I don't think he could make this call. I think interested to hear feedback, but I think a good next step here would be to have a meeting to put together, and we can either do this async or in a meeting. I think putting together a spec of what we would need in order to launch this is possibly a good next step, because then we can start breaking down the work. I think that's the biggest thing I see in front of me. There's also some things that we need to discuss. Chris brought up the auto renewal question. Apparently, the jQuery Foundation, when they would do the auto renew, there'd be a lot of people reaching out and saying, why is this happening? I didn't know this was a subscription, or like people whose cards got canceled or had a new card and so it didn't work and we had to reach out to them. So I think that's a discussion worth having. Would be interesting. Yeah. So I'll send out an email to the CPC list and share another doodle to get together and talk spec. Does that make sense as a next step, or does anyone have any thoughts?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, awesome.
All right. Moving on down, I guess, 599. We should try an earlier CPC meeting time. We did try an earlier CPC meeting time. I had a dentist appointment, so I missed it though. So.
Well, it was about as good as a dentist appointment. No, I'm just kidding. It was great, and we had good turnout. And I commented on the issue about doing this week's meeting at an earlier time, but the weeks go by so fast, and I didn't feel like we really had time to say yes or no, or even let people know. So we just kind of went ahead with this meeting time today. But the question remains: should we do it in 2 weeks and alternate with the later time slot that we currently have in place? Which seems to make sense to me. I know it may make some West Coast folks not be able to attend, but if we want to try this, I think it's a good thing to try. So I guess the question is, should we start in 2 weeks from today at 1400 UTC?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we can try a couple of more weeks before we decide on that.
Yeah, and I consider it kind of an experiment. I don't know if other people agree, but see how it goes to try and be a little EU friendly. And I think Emily was going to raise an issue as well to gauge interest from people further east to see if there's interest, and we should be considering another time slot.
Also, yes, there's an action on me on that one that I just haven't got around to yet.
Sure, thank you, Emily. Divya, you were saying?
Yeah. Also, we decided that we were going to push it back an hour, right? Because we had it at 9 o'clock Eastern, and then we said that 10 o'clock would be more. We can try out the 10 o'clock one.
Yep, 10 o'clock Eastern would be the 1400 UTC time.
Yeah. So. That's about
yep. Thanks for clarifying.
Can Can we push that another week? Like, for example, take 3 weeks and then extensively market this and then send Twitter, send tweets or things like that so we can announce it to folks and then give some time for them to join there?
Yeah, the reasoning for doing it in 2 weeks is because right now we alternate between 1600 and 1800. And at 1800, we're alternating with the standards meeting. And so the thinking is we leave our 1800 alternating meeting with the standards meeting as is. And then the earlier meeting at 1600, we move that forward, which would be today. And then, you know, in 2 weeks from now, we would start the earlier meeting. So that's the reasoning for the thinking of 2 weeks. So we don't disrupt the other scheduling we have in place.
Okay, thanks for the explanation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be good to set it for a couple weeks, and then you can do that same marketing saying, you know, we're trying it for 2-3 weeks at this new time, and that gives you, you know, these 2 weeks and even the next 2 weeks to market that.
Yeah, I think that's a good question. How many instances of this earlier time should we plan to do? 2, 3, 4? It's a good question. I mean, maybe we can gauge that as we go, but thanks, Michael. Take care.
Bye.
So that's another question. How many are we going to do?
Like a few would sound good. Like 2 to 3.
Okay. How about we do, yeah, let's do 2 and evaluate at that point. But if I could ask folks to help promote the movement, and we can see how many more people we are able to stir up.
We could also talk in today's standards meeting about whether that meeting is very fixed in its current time, if it makes more sense to move that a little bit in some direction.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
So the action here is to promote the earlier time that will commence on September the 8th. Is that right?
Yes. Let me just check the calendar. Yeah, that looks right.
All right, cool. All right.
I just have a quick question. Was that reflected in the calendar last time?
No, I don't think it was. Well, it was, but it was added. It was a kind of a late change. But Joe and I are now both able to update the calendar. So we'll do that immediately post this meeting, so that those next, at least alternating 2, are reflected at the newer time. So that's a good action too.
All right, cool. Because I wasn't sure if it was my calendar that like screwed it up, or you know. So I couldn't make it because I had like a double booked. It was double booked for me. So I just want to make sure that others who depend on the calendar also don't fall in that problem.
Yep. Yeah, I can update it right now while we're working.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Super duper. Moving on to issue 592. Develop annual review process for projects. I believe the last action was on Emily and maybe Toby.
Yeah, I have an action item on this that I was actually fixing right before this call, so I'll be able to ship that and organize a meeting for this.
So
Cool.
what's the status, I guess, to be more clear?
There's going to be a meeting with the interested parties. I have a list of them. I will send a doodle, and we'll meet, and then we'll report.
Shall we keep the agenda tag on this issue, or would you like to remove it until you're ready to report back?
I think once we actually have the meeting, in case we have a further process on there, we can remove it. But at the moment, I think it's a good thing to make sure that we actually get around to doing something about this.
So we'll leave the tag on for now. And the action is, y'all respond to Toby's doodle. Issue 583, updating the CLA to the Apache style ICLA and CCLA. I think this was a Brian and Toby issue.
Yeah, so we did talk about this on the board call, and you know, at this point, I haven't heard any major objections or concerns with this, other than really just questions on what does this mean for people who signed the JSF CLA, which I think we have a fairly well-developed answer for. So I think other than that, we're probably ready to move this one forward.
That's great.
Let me just ask, I see someone in the attendee list, Alicio Ortiz. I don't know if we want that.
Oh, sorry, I'll do that. Oh, there we go, got him.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure.
Did you have another ask other than is there, so I guess the question is, do we need any further action on 583? Sorry, can we remove the agenda tag and or close the issue?
Close the issue, I assume. Right.
Okay. I'd agree.
All righty. Love that. All right. Doc 547. Next issue. Governance changes for collaboration network. This is one that Michael Dawson was driving. Does anybody else happen to have updates on this one?
I don't know of any updates, but if you want, I can ping him and see if there are any. Just come back to it in a second.
Okay, just yeah, we'll skip ahead, and if there is an update he can provide async, then great. So skipping down then to 514, which is the Ad Foundation-wide copyright guidance. That is also Brian and Toby.
So I think we made good progress on this, and ended up at a point where we needed to have more concrete guidance for actually implementing and then using either the CLA or either ACLA or the DCO on sort of like a day-to-day basis. My suggestion was to merge the current document and then work on those additional documents separately. I don't know, like Brian and I didn't have time to sync on this. I don't know, Brian, what your thoughts are here.
Let's take a quick look at where we ended in the end. But everything.
I don't think it's like ready to land, but I think it's like 98% ready to land as is.
Yeah, sounds right to me. Give me 1 second to just take a quick look. Actually, I won't hold up the call here.
You and I can sync like off this call to make sure that like we're in agreement here, and then if people are happy with the outcome, have folks +1 it and then just merge it.
Sounds like a good plan to me. Be nice to get this one landed.
It would.
All right, so the action is that we're requesting CPC reps +1 Toby's PR, and then we can revise and add from there.
Great.
Just more concretely, I don't think the PR is actually the 414 PR. I think it's a new one, which is why Brian might be confused. Might have been confused. 618 is the one we're
looking for.
Thank you.
All right. And let's hop on down to responsible security disclosures, number 326, and corresponding pull request number 602. Marcin is here.
Yeah, I can actually speak to that. So there has been very little progress on that one in the last few weeks, mainly because of my vacation. But I think the last bit that's outstanding here is transferring the requirements that have been agreed upon to basically all the different policies that we have. Here, so I'll take a sweep through all the CPC documents later this week and augment that PR. And I think that should be everything that we agreed on is required to move this proposal to stage 3.
Great, thank you.
Wonderful, and thanks for all your work on this. Really appreciate that.
My pleasure. When that is done, I'll probably get back with more security ideas.
Great. Yeah, the liaison idea is great too. So I don't know if you're aware, Martin, but we have the standards meeting every other Tuesday, alternating. It happens today at 2 p.m. Eastern time, so in hour and 20 minutes from now. So I think Miles was suggesting that is where we've established some liaisons with other organizations, so we could discuss it there.
Yeah. To give everybody maybe a little bit of context, I'm also involved in the fairly new Open Source Security Foundation, which is also a sub-foundation of the Linux Foundation. So I had an idea to be like a bridge between those two bodies. But the OpenSSF is a fairly new thing, so I think I'd like some more time to explore that with them first. And then I'll be super happy to join the standards working group when I have a firmer idea of how that might look like.
Sounds great. Excellent. So we're good on that issue. I don't know if that's you typing, Jory. I felt compelled to talk.
Yes, it was me typing.
Great. I did notice that Brian had a comment on the previous issue. I just wanted to double back on that.
Oh, just saying 618 looks good. This is the changes to the IP policy. There's one spelling nit, but other than that, looks good to me.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Did Michael provide any quick update on 547?
No, he must be in a meeting.
All right, just no update this week. That reaches the end of our regularly scheduled agenda list of items. Is there any other business anyone would like to bring? Because it's 12:43 here in Boston, Massachusetts, which means we're 17 minutes before the top of the hour, which is awesome. No?
Yeah, do we want to talk about any other open things that we have happening? Like I guess there's a doodle coming for the review stuff. Project review. I'm just scrolling through the issues to see if there's anything you want to talk about.
No, the only thing I want to say is welcome to Evgeny from AJVJS, who's joined our CPC meeting today. I just saw on the list and so welcome.
Hello everybody.
Welcome.
Quite a gathering.
Yes, quite a
Thank you very
gathering.
much.
It's a big party
Happy to
today.
see everybody. So there's been some Zoom troubles. I've been there from the very beginning. Messenger, but only recently managed to jump in. Anyway,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining.
And for y'all's patience with the Zoom stuff earlier. That's a pain. Sorry. Okay.
I've got one quick question for Brian. Have you had time to look at changing the project to foundation on the Apache CLAs?
Yeah, I did actually. So I'd asked legal about this, and they said that it's something which can be clarified in an FAQ, but they had suggested to not make any surgery changes like this to the document, because it then gets us, in the realm where people's legal departments would need to go through and review how this changes things. So if we're keeping with the principle of least astonishment, then recommendation was to keep it as it is and just clarify it in the documentation around it.
Unfortunate, but okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got nothing. I've got no further exciting stories or news to share.
How's your new house? Did you get the house?
Oh, no, I'm not there yet. Oh, I guess so. Here's the one thing I should have shared at the beginning. I'll pop it in the Slack. JacksonPollock.org. If you need to like doodle in a meeting or something, this website is just it. Where's the chat? Y'all need this. You need this in your lives. I promise. Just super addictive. If you want to make your own splatter paintings. It's
Great.
a progressive web app, and it's just way too much fun. So that's the thing I'll share today.
That's great.
Maybe I'll put that in the newsletter too. Hey everyone, want to have your productivity tank? Go to this website. All right.
Definitely recommend splatter paintings. Did that for 2 years at one point. Had a lot of fun.
Well, then you will really like this. Okay, I'm going to stop our live stream because this is not interesting.